can't you see? I'm listening to RTP, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think this pod is fly. They'll watch a movie show, talking smack about romance. Then Mikey says something dumb. Todd wears 10 pairs of pants. Paige, Mikey, and Todd. Paige, Mikey, and Todd. Oh, I love you, baby. Romance in the pod. Paige, Mikey, and Todd. Paige, Mikey, and Todd. Well, I need you, baby. Romance in the pod. Woo!
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige Wesley.
I'm Mikey Randolph, fresh off vacation.
And I'm Todd Schlosser, fresh needing a vacation. And this week, Paige made us watch
Imagine Me and You, the movie. They sing the song and it is in the movie. It's towards the end.
Yeah.
They did save it to the end.
I actually really love how they use it.
Yeah.
I do, but they clearly couldn't afford the actual song. So they just have a guy singing it slightly off key.
Well, no, they play it at the end. When the music comes up, it's the Turtles version. Yeah. It's like the version. I'm honestly not sure if that's the original, but that's the one you know. You know what I'm saying?
Or they sold them like a cheaper version of their own song. They're like, this is our generic song.
I was not paying attention. I just heard the guy singing it in the movie and was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, it's just some dude on a bike who's like listening to his I guess Discman at the time.
Yeah. Which on a bike,
to it.
that disc is skipping like crazy.
Yeah.
He has the patented Sony no-skip technology in that Walkman.
I mean, it is 2005, so it could be an early iPod, like a very early one.
It could be listening to a radio. People used to listen. I used to run and listen to the radio, and then I ran slower during the ads.
On purpose or just...
He was too busy writing down phone numbers of whatever the products were, Paige.
No.
He was like, really? Singles in my area? Ladies? Milk? All right.
Tom Shane of the Shane Company, Novato and Cupertino.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because it's like, I'm listening to, alternative rock, 99X in Atlanta, going for a jog because I'm an in-shape, 17-year-old. And then they're like, then the Shane Company. And you're like, well, I can't keep a good pace.
Do you guys have the Shane Company out there? I thought this was a Bay Area thing.
Oh, man, Shane Company's big.
What? I didn't know this.
Wait, the jewelry store?
Yes.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
This is like Paige's version of finding out a Mormon thing.
Yeah, this is my version of finding out Mormon things. Todd, they're not even in Southern California. They are almost nowhere else. And in college, we used to use it as a way to see if someone was actually from the Bay Area, is to ask them who their friend in the diamond business was. And if they were from the Bay, they'd be like, oh, the Shane Company, Novato and Cupertino. And without fail, I can still do it at comedy shows and pick Bay people out with it. I had no idea they were anywhere else. That's wild.
Yeah, I'm on their site right now. They've got 60 locations.
What? In what other states?
Minnesota, Kentucky, Washington, Colorado, Kansas, Utah, Indiana, Tennessee, Oregon,
That's crazy.
Arizona, Georgia, and Missouri.
I didn't know
Shane's
that.
a busy dude.
Clearly.
Wait, we're getting off track. Paige, why did you pick this movie?
Yes, thank you, Mikey.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. I had never seen this before, but it comes up in the groups a lot. People have requested this movie a ton.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And when I announced it, I got 1 million DMs of people who were very excited I was choosing it and are probably not going to be excited about what I say next. I wanted to like this really bad. I did. I really wanted to.
I had a whole argument planned. I was like, this is lesbian what if? And if Paige likes this, I'm attacking her.
It is
I'm
lesbian what if. Not only is it lesbian what if for me, it suffers from the Richard Curtis problem of too many side characters that get too much time or not enough time, which means that our main characters don't get enough time because at the end of this movie, they've literally gone on a single date and talked a couple times.
Yeah.
And that's it. Now because I found in Fun Facts, I have something to reveal to you which may explain part of the problem with this movie. This was originally written as a straight movie.
Yeah,
I can see
it
that.
feels like that.
If you say the word fuck or shit a little bit more, and then they're straight white guys, it's basically Wedding Crashers.
Yes.
Yeah, not as funny, but yeah.
Yeah. It was written as a straight couple and then changed after.
Where they met, the florist was a guy.
I think It's that she meets the groom instead of the bride.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. Now, the person who wrote the script also wrote the movie.
Also directed the movie?
Yes. Also wrote the script, directed the movie, all of it. So they would have done the rewrite. So I'm not sure why they decided to make the change. But to me, it felt like a weirdly straight movie. And I was like, I don't understand. And I felt like no one had chemistry with each other. And I wanted them to. I was like, can we spend more time with them? Like, the one thing I appreciate about this movie is that people tell people what's going on before they get caught and whatever. There's some of that. But overall, I'm just like, we spend 50 to 60 minutes of this movie trying to decipher what's in people's heads because no one's saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And so people just have blank expressions through a lot of this movie.
Paige, it is a British movie.
Yeah.
It is a very British, but that's what I said. It's the Richard Curtis problem. Like, bad Richard Curtis movies are a lot like this movie, where it's like, I know all about their family and the weird little kid that says facts, but I don't know why they love each other. Like, what's going on?
It sounds exactly like the problem I had with Jerry Maguire.
Ooh, I mean, this had a different feel than Jerry Maguire for me.
I just meant like exactly what you just said. There's a weird kid that spouts facts, and I don't understand why they love each other, but
yeah, definitely.
I like the sweetness of their like little story. I hated that she was married.
Yep.
I didn't like that, yeah.
I also did not like that everyone's whispering the whole film except for the 2 times they yell. And I was like, guys, I need someone's voice to have some sort of inflection at some point in this film. Yeah.
Even with subtitles, it was hard because it was mixed very low. The one thing I really did like is when they kind of stylized their date and they stylized the sound of the projecting. Mm-hmm. But I think if I had to rewrite this, if I was going to rewrite this movie, it would go either one of 2 ways. Either one, they're not married and she just breaks up with a boyfriend and that makes it a little bit easier. And maybe they meet at a friend's wedding or something instead. Or 2, she realizes that she is attracted to women, breaks up with her boyfriend or husband because of that.
Yeah.
And then we fast forward to like a year later where she is now single and figuring herself out. And then they reconnect.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That's
would be
more
great.
of what I wanted, of something like, I feel like we spend a lot of this movie with Piper Perabo trying to figure her stuff out, but she doesn't really. She kind of just jumps and makes a choice. I also, personally, I don't believe in love at first sight, and this movie very much does.
I was like, this is Paige's this is a trigger movie for Paige.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
And they have the debate at the kitchen table, and like the love at first sight side doesn't even make a good choice. I'm like, well, then you just like find out if it's love at first sight if they don't fuck you up after the end of it. And you're like, I don't know if that's a good way to do it.
No. And
that was an interesting way to take that line of dialogue, because what she actually says is, you just come to find out that they are proving that you did love them at first sight because you're just falling in love with everything they do.
But that logic dictates if they ever hurt you, then it wasn't love at first sight.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't know until then.
I mean, I'm not saying it's good and it's the right way to think, but it's said much nicer in the movie.
I loved the husband character. I thought he was very sweet and like a nice guy.
I do like that he's a good guy and not a bad
very
guy.
Very non-toxic, masculine, like male lead.
Yes, and in 2005.
Yes.
That's a surprise to me that he was this sort of forward thinking back then.
I also like that he lets her go.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there ain't much you can do at that point.
Yeah, what's he going to do?
I've let my last 2 girlfriends go, I guess.
You should have told her. You should have asked her to watch Bob's Burgers.
See, and I guess this is just me being optimistic. I feel like after this movie, maybe she and him eventually become friends again. Maybe.
He's got something going on with him because he plays the character like someone's holding a gun to him off screen the whole film. Where he's that nervous the whole time.
Well, maybe it's because he doesn't realize that he's about to be the worst part of the Watchmen. Not him as an actor, but like the character, like brings about the apocalypse, basically.
That's him? Jeez.
Ozymandias. Look upon my works and tremble.
Well, this was his villain origin story.
He does look like he is a hostage the entire movie. You're right.
He laughs at the airplane like he's free. At the end of the movie, he's like, ha, 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 I'm free.
Well, after having the weirdest conversation with the little girl where she's like, I'll marry you someday. And I'm like, oh no,
I
you
did
shouldn't
not
hang
love
out.
that conversation
I
at all.
did not love that at all.
I thought that was his sister, too. Is that not his sister?
No, that's his sister-in-law. It's her sister.
His niece-in-law?
No, it is his wife's little sister.
She was like a surprise baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Anthony Stewart Head and his wife. Anthony Stewart Head straight up whispers this entire film, and I'm like, you were on Broadway! Like, come on!
I didn't turn subtitles on. I just like fucking raw dogged this film and didn't listen. I didn't hear like half of it.
That is a very Cooper approach to watching this movie.
I was just like, huh?
I could have taken more Cooper, honestly.
I pretty much watched this film like I'm at a party trying to listen to a conversation, like catching some stuff, and then
Yeah,
they
like-
turn to me and I'm like, yeah, cool, yeah.
She broke up with who? What?
Yeah. Oh, what's her deal?
Is it a little girl or an adult? Is her dad gay? What?
Is she gay or is she bi? Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
What flower says I want you to fuck me? Is it tulips?
Tulips is I dare you to love me. I thought that was very...
No, lilies.
Lilies, that's
Lilies
right.
is I dare
Yeah.
you to love me.
I thought that was cool. Hydrangeas are I think we should break up, but think well of me or something like that.
I planted 2 of them in front of my house.
Hydrangeas?
Yeah.
Have you told your realtor it's over?
They're yeah, you told your realtor it's over.
They're just going to pull up, see the front of your house and be like, damn it, lost another one.
I just wanted somebody to walk up to somebody with a bouquet of lilies and be like, and offer them and have somebody be like, truth?
What is the I truth you to love me flower? Sorry. I didn't really love this movie. I would have liked it way more if they weren't married when the relationship started. So like,
Yeah, that was a big
if
thing for me.
They caught each other's eye and Piper was like, oh no, I'm definitely into women. I need to sort of get out of this. And like, even like left him at the altar and had this conversation later
Yeah.
that day or whatever.
Sure.
And then jump to a year later, she just happens to wander into the flower shop and she's like, oh my God, it's you. That would be fine. I'd be on board for this movie in a very like fun way if that was this movie. This movie is essentially just like glorifying her cheating on her husband.
But you see, Todd, movies cannot let go. Rom-coms can't let go of the love at first sight cliche.
I know.
And
know.
it's that one thing, and it ruins almost all of them.
I know.
Because if you had one where it's like, I think I like met this person, we spent a night. I like ones where you meet someone, you spend a night with them, and you're like, I think that's a person I could love.
Yeah, that's why I like the Before movies. It's
Yeah.
why I like What If. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like this.
no. And What If has a little bit of the stuff in this that I didn't like too.
Same.
So like, it's not that there's a double standard. I remember talking about not liking
remember
that
also
too.
just
I
liking this when
remember
it was What
talking
If.
about it. Yeah. I was like, I came in hot. I was like, I'm ready to throw down on this film.
I think there are a ton of different ways you could fix the married problem easily. Like, I think for me, an almost bigger problem is just that we don't see enough of them together. By the end of the
No.
movie, I don't understand why it's them. And the movie only tells me it's because it's love at first sight. And I'm like, then give me something. Give
Yeah.
me the magic every time they see each other. And it's just not there.
Or the one 24 hours, which I thought they were going to at the soccer game.
It was close. I like when that happened, I was like, okay, I kind of understand this. I kind of get it. And I love that the movie kind of stylized it with the lighting. It was almost
Yeah.
like everything about them kind of glows.
Mhm. And they're like, we're going to go dancing. I was like, okay, this is it.
This is great.
And then it wasn't it.
But it only lasts like a minute or two, and they never really get another version of those. And when she eventually comes in and is like, so I can't feel this way about you, I was like, spoiler, you guys have never talked about any of it. You leaned in once. Like, most people in that scene in real life would be like, what the hell are you talking
Do you
about?
know how many people I've leaned in on a kiss? I just do it by default in case it like wants to happen. You know, I'm just like, hey.
It's honestly, you never expect it when it happens. Like he
But
just
you always, I keep the door open. You know, I got the, we got the light on for you. What's that hotel?
We got the light on for you. Is that Howard
Motel
Johnson?
6? What is
Motel
that?
6. It's Motel 6.
But then if the next day she's like, I left my husband because you leaned in, I'd be like, holy shit, we got to get out of here. And when I say we, I mean like me and my
I
people.
need to leave. You need to talk to a professional. I need to go.
I am a professional, but not your professional
You're
for this
professional?
situation.
The fact that that she does sort of blow up her life to be with her, I think is a little bit concerning at the end. I would imagine, I don't know. I wish they leaned into more that she already knew this about herself, that she was bisexual.
It's almost too individualized to this specific person where it's not like
Yes.
an awakening or I'm coming to terms. It's
Right.
I like this one person.
Right.
Which demisexual, was that demisexual?
Demisexual is when you have to be friends with people first. But I think that's a holdover from the straight version. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Where air quotes, because straight is often considered the default in these movies, they don't feel the need to explain it more. It's just, oh, this is a different person or whatever. But for this, when you change it, I'm like, we need to, maybe it is just this one person, who knows? But I would feel way more invested if this is something that she was like, it's always kind of been there in the back of my head and I don't know, and I'm figuring it out or something, that was more of what I kind of wanted. And that could have led to her being to, her fiance, boyfriend, husband, whatever it is, it is not you. I still care about you. We are still friends. I still am invested in you, but this is something I need to figure out about myself.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a much more grounded place to be instead of just I looked across our wedding and saw the florist.
I know, right?
We've been looking at you across this wedding and you've got a vibe.
So if I looked across my wedding, saw an usher dude and fell in love with that usher dude, I'd be like,
wait,
I need to
is it Usher though? Is it the Usher?
Okay, so I did send an invite, okay? And if he comes, he comes. No, I mean just any random dude. I would be oh, I need to rethink a bunch of shit about my life.
I need to not marry this person because clearly I have some other stuff happening.
Well, obviously don't marry the person that you're not attracted to and don't want to be with, right? If you're in that spot where you fall in love with someone instantly at your wedding that's not your spouse or your supposed partner, then you need to rethink your life.
It's also not love because you just met that person.
Exactly.
That's not love.
That's
It's
what I'm
attraction,
saying.
but it's not love.
You've got something going on that is pulling you away from this that you need to listen to and think about.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should immediately jump into another relationship.
No,
that's
not at
also
all.
my point. The fact that she goes from seemingly straight to seemingly gay in the span of 2 weeks. If that happened to me, it would take me a lot longer to come to terms with what's going on in my life and
I do think it's a little longer, but I would say that this entire movie takes place in under 4 months.
fuck, yeah.
Which is still not a long time.
If even.
If even, yeah.
Yeah. I also if I was going to switch teams and I found myself single again, I'd go through a hoe phase. I wouldn't immediately jump into a relationship. Are you kidding me?
Everyone's different. Some people might or whatever, but I also feel if I was switching teams, I'd have questions where I'd be okay, I need to sit with myself for a little bit and think about how I feel and what does this mean for me or whatever.
Am I really this way, or was I so unhappy in my relationship I gaslit myself into falling in love with some random person?
I don't think she's that unhappy,
No,
but
I don't think
hey,
so
for
either,
other people,
but
I guess
that-
maybe.
Those are the questions I'd be working through myself for sure.
Well, how do I feel about Henry Cavill's shoulders?
Exactly.
But how do I feel about Monica Bellucci's tits? Just
They're both a net positive.
both a net positive.
Yeah, if Ryan Reynolds, I sleep with him once, I'm just be yeah, it's Ryan Reynolds, I'm not, but Leah Headley is very attractive.
Very. Cersei Lannister. Lannister always pays her debts. You know what I'm saying? Although you got to be related, though. You got to be her brother. Her super hot brother.
I was thrilled to see her in this episode sleep with someone she didn't share DNA with.
Or sleep with someone who didn't leave her with a child that she then has to raise to fight the machines,
I honestly, we don't ever see them sleep together. It never gets that far because they only really make out once in her flower shop and then
and ruin thousands of dollars in flowers. I was like, this is the most expensive makeout scene I've ever seen.
She wrote it off on her taxes.
Yeah. Oh, breakage.
I did think it was really funny that when Piper's having this like really sort of sad moment with her parents, sort of explaining that she's in love with another woman, and her dad, like, I think comes over and says some very sweet stuff. She's like,
I couldn't hear it, but I think
it was very sweet. I could hear it and I turned subtitles on because, I like subtitles. But when he says those sweet things to her and she goes, can I borrow your car? He's like, I'll drive.
And he says, I'll drive you.
Yeah.
I do love that.
Because he's like, listen, I don't care who you want to have sex with, but you're a woman. I'm not going to let you drive.
We're not crazy. We want to get there alive.
Anyway, maybe we should go to this movie scene by scene or whatever.
Let's do it. We open on Rachel, aka Piper Parabos.
Yeah.
Wedding day. She answers the door. It's her bridesmaids. Everyone's getting ready, but she seems a little disconnected that day.
Yes. And don't worry about those bridesmaids. We'll never see them again.
We do see them. They're her coworkers. Yeah, we see them twice, 2 more times in the movie for them to be like, who would ever have a hoe phase and try out lesbianism in college? Crazy. And I'm like, so many people.
Yeah.
Like, more than you think.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're her bridesmaids. They get ready. We cut kind of back and forth among all the different guests at the wedding. So the groom and Coop, Hector, or Heck as he is called, and Coop, her parents and their surprise baby that is literally the girl version of the Jerry Maguire kid. But then also Lena Headey, who we will find out is the florist for the wedding, who is packing up the car with the flowers to take to the wedding. And I don't know if this is just a florist thing, but every florist I know has a cool older car that they use to deliver flowers.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a cool florist thing either.
I don't know. It's like every chef having the cut tattoo. Like, that's how ubiquitous it seems.
I don't know a ton of florists.
I know 4, and they all have it. It's weird. And they don't know each other either.
So it's a small sample size, but it checks out.
I mean,
Right.
There's no argument against this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You heard it here. All florists have cool older cars to deliver flowers.
All florists can't afford new cars. We heard it first.
Because they're making out on their products.
Yeah, exactly. There's petals everywhere. You're supposed to sprinkle petals, not whole flowers.
Man, I wish I was a florist because I'd be like, I'm peddling my petals.
Mikey.
You're a genius.
Next step, get an old car. Step number 2, find some flowers.
KPIs. And with P, I mean petals. You know what I'm saying?
Key pedal indicators.
They indicate, does he love me? Does he love me not?
Does he not?
Look, my name's Chris. I'm in marketing.
How dare you besmirch?
The good name of marketing.
Yeah.
Wink, 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 wink.
Let's change the font. We'll get more clicks. I'm like, Jesus, we pay these people?
God damn it. But here's the thing. Sometimes they're right. And
Yes,
that makes
we
me
are.
even angrier.
Yeah.
Like, because so many times it's dumb and it doesn't work. But then every once in a while they're like, we changed the color of this button and the click rate went up 80%. And I was like, we really are just monkeys, aren't we? Like,
It's
we're
true.
just descendants of the great ape clicking on colors.
In all fairness, the marketing
wild.
guys aren't that smart. They just made it a color that wasn't called fuck off red.
Oh, no, they did. They changed it to orange. And people clicked on the
It
orange
works,
button.
baby.
I don't know.
Burnt orange is very in right now. I'm in marketing.
Pay me $6K a month.
Actually, here's what's even crazier. So one time they made it orange and the click rate went up. And then one time they made it ombre and made it change colors. And the click rate went insane. And they were like, we have to turn it back to a solid color. It's too many clicks. I was like,
We got
this
dialed back
job
down. We
is
weren't
so
prepared
dumb
for this.
sometimes.
Jesus.
Oh, anyway. So everyone is on their way to the wedding. The bride is in a cab with her father, who seems to completely regret marrying her mother. Like a lot.
Until the very end when he's like, I'm fully in love with your mom, but I think she could do better or whatever. I was like,
No. He says, I'm in love with your mom, but she's a total bitch and doesn't love me as much back. And if she met someone else, she would leave me in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Let's go get your woman.
That is exactly what he says to her, yeah. And then in the car, they have this like sweet conversation. And he's just like, if you could just be like a little nicer to me. And then she immediately can't. And I'm like, love.
I'm like, oh, it's like if my parents stayed together.
Yes,
Oh, no.
that is what it would be like if your parents specifically, or mine, stayed together.
I think one of my favorites is here in the car on the way to the wedding. He's like, you know what? I should have just stopped the car and gotten out. And she's like, stop the car. And I was like, oh, wow. All right. She's going to run. Cool. And she's like, no, I just need to go to the bathroom. So she like goes into a McDonald's to go to the bathroom.
I did think that was a cute little like running montage into the bathroom through a McDonald's.
I thought she was going to like try and climb through the tiny bathroom window of a McDonald's. And I was like, well, girl, you in danger because like that dress is not going to fit.
Yeah, if this movie had started with her stopping her wedding, I would have liked it way more. But no, she
Same.
fully gets married. But in the car, when her dad is talking to her, he is giving himself advice, you know, like what
Yes.
he was feeling or whatever. But it is really what she needs to do in the moment. And this happens, I think, 2 or 3 times throughout the movie where the person on screen is giving great advice for the person who needs to hear it, but they're not giving it as advice to that person. They're like relaying it as a story they heard, or like the dad saying it was what he felt or whatever. I thought that was an interesting way to write this movie. I sort of dug the way it was written.
I wish I had the same experience as you, but my experience watching this movie was, not to steal an old joke, but it's like playing The Sims after your parents went to bed, and it's British Sims, and they're like, and you're like, oh, I got to turn it down. Don't want to wake mom up. She's going to yell at me. It's 10:30, you know, no computer time.
You got to turn on sim titles, man. Come on.
I was like, all of these people look like they were kidnapped, forced into North Korea to make this film, and I don't know why.
Like they're just looking off to the side.
It's just a bunch of guys in like off screen in North Korean outfits and AK-47s. Like,
Because oh God, I love you. Line? Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, we cut to the wedding where Luce, who is Lena Headey's character, she's a florist, is putting together the flowers. She talks to Matthew Good, who is the groom, Heck, and she's just kind of helping out around the wedding. She talks to the weird fact kid, and they become friends, oddly enough. I never fully understood that one because I don't think I would let my young daughter hang out with an adult that we just met a couple days before.
It's weird, but I had me and my mom had experience, like my family's at the pool, and this kid, he's like by himself, and I was like, hey kid, your walkie-talkie's ringing, and he's like, oh, that's my mom. He like gets on his walkie-talkie. He's like, I found a dead crab and I'm still swimming. Over. And I was like,
I now need you to follow this kid around and tell me everything he says into that goddamn walkie-talkie.
he's got the country's accent. His name, and he like comes up and talks. He's like, my name's Duke. And we're like, oh, where are you from? Tells us his whole street address. I live at 214.
Don't say it now, Mikey. What are you doing?
But I laughed so hard.
He was like, let me give you my walkie-talkie number. I'm on channel 6.
He's on the walkie-talkie. He's like, I found a dead crab. It's really cool. And it's like, I can't hear what the mom says. He's like, okay. And he like throws it away. I'm like, oh, they're just letting this 8-year-old swim at this pool by itself.
I
huh?
love that this 8-year-old is out here in 1980 and everyone
like-
out here is in 2023.
Wait, where do you find a crab at the pool?
It was like, he like brought it. He like found it by the dunes or whatever. He like ran over.
I would be pissed if I was at my hotel pool and some kid brought a fucking crab into it.
Well, unless he showed up and was like, I found a dead crab and it was just a plate of rangoons.
No, it was like a little small crab. It was a little small crab, and he like ran, and then he didn't bring it to the pool or anything. He ran to his walkie-talkie to tell his mom.
Mikey, you are so defensive of this kid that I'm
Duke
like
is a good dude, man.
85% sure that Duke is on the Zoom call with us right now. Mikey, it's okay. We know you found a dead crab, and we're talking to your mom on a walkie-talkie. Like,
I
it's
found a dead
okay.
crab. What am I supposed to do with it?
And she's like, I don't know. You're in your 30s. Figure it out.
God, that kid cracked me up. Oh, we were laughing so hard.
Yeah, that kid. Wink.
That's definitely not a helicopter parent, unless she's like in an actual helicopter walkie-talkie.
Like, tell me about the dead crab. We're at our extraction point. Over.
Man, his mother's out of trying to have it all. She's like working in a helicopter, parenting from afar. I love it.
Cleaning up the dead crabs of the beach. One of them is going to have the amulet in it, I swear.
I think you mean the cramulet. No, never mind. You
The
know what?
crabulet.
You know what? No, never mind.
I went to a place that had lobster rangoon.
Do they have any non-seafood rangoons?
Yeah, cream cheese.
I love those.
Cream cheese rangoons.
They're much cheaper.
They are. I just don't like crab or lobster.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I would take like a lamb rangoon.
Oh, man. Tell me more. We have garlic bread cheese in our fridge right now, and that's not cheese flavored like garlic bread. It's bread cheese that has garlic in it, and I'm very excited for that later.
I don't know what any of that means.
You said
I'm here
words
for it.
in an order my brain is not used to hearing, and it's like 10:30 at night.
Cheese for
So
bread or bread
halloumi cheese is meant to be grilled, just like straight up like block of cheese into skillet. And so they call it bread cheese because it kind of stays in one piece and it takes on grill marks kind of like bread does. But it tastes kind of chewy like a cheese curd. It's got a really great flavor, and then you can easily flavor it with things. So we have a garlic flavored one.
I would fucks with that.
Yeah.
I've got nutty toe cheese.
I'm sorry, what? Nutty toe cheese? Is that what you just said?
I found a dead joke. It was really cool. Over.
Throw it in the dude.
Throw that joke in the dunes, Mikey.
Give it to the sandworms and mind the spice.
But I was like, I'm sitting with all my family, and I'm like 4 or 5 beers, and like this kid just like fucking just goes hold Jerry Maguire on me, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, kid.
Quit waving that dead crab near my beer.
I'm surprised you didn't punch him.
Bop.
Did you know a human crab weighs 48 pounds?
A
What?
human crab? What are we saying?
They're kids, man. They don't know what they're talking about. I did make my family go get snow cones. I mean, I was the kid of this whole trip. I was like, we're getting snow cones tonight.
What flavor of snow cones you get, Mikey?
I like the old wedding cake. It's like a strawberry vanilla mix.
Oh,
I've never heard someone pick an incorrect snow cone flavor until today.
snow cone flavor should be mostly fruit, I think.
I know, right?
No.
Like I was expecting at most pina colada, like something.
I
Pina
do love a
colada?
good pina colada. They had a key lime pie colada at the bar that was a half mile down the beach, so I walked down and would buy one and walk back.
My favorite snow cone flavor is yeast.
The place had some weird flavors. I should have took a picture.
They didn't have that one for sure. What did I say yeast about in that one episode? It was so fucking funny.
Don't talk about the episodes you did without me. They don't exist.
No. This was one with you.
I don't remember.
We were talking about Alexander Skarsgård, what kind of cologne he was wearing or whatever.
We need to go back.
Because of his King's Hawaiian rolls.
Right. It was just yeast.
We need to get back to Piper Pepe Poo Poo's wedding.
Good Lord. You'd think Famke Janssen was in this. Anyway.
I don't think
I
Mikey
can't
can say
say
that
her
name to this
name.
day. It's the main reason I want them to start dating, because then he'd have to like learn it phonetically or something.
For Micah Johansson, what are you doing?
Oh, Micah Johansson. Yo, she was my favorite non-girl.
I should have been a drill sergeant.
Why?
Because I could just yell people's names wrong. That'd be my whole career.
I like that you think that's the only thing the drill sergeants do.
Piper Pepperoni, up and at him. Give him 20.
Oh, God. Anyway, we cut to the wedding.
Oh, shit. This is the first scene, and we're 40 minutes in.
Yeah, she Piper peekaboos the flower girl. You know what I'm saying? No, the florist.
Yeah, florist,
stuff.
not flower girl. Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, she's a girl and has flowers. But Cooper, who is the groom's best friend, is trying to seduce her, and she's like, I don't like men with muscles, is what she says. And he's just like, I got one muscle for you. Like, he is just an innuendo factory.
He is British Tucker Max in this movie.
He is British Tucker Max. Well, he's British Vince Vaughn from Wedding Crashers.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
the only one who acts like he hasn't been kidnapped, so I kind of enjoyed his performance.
He is a dirtbag, though. Like, he is a shitty dude.
Oh, yeah.
Total dirtbag. He's also, anytime they're like, this person's gay, so don't even bother. He's like, oh, I'm a bother. And you're like, what? No, stop.
He's like, I like a challenge. You're like, that's not what
That's
that
not
means,
what this is.
my guy.
People's sexuality does not exist to challenge you.
He's like, sexuality's fluid. Speaking of my fluids. And you're like, oh.
Oh, God. I mean, that is what he sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, God. I feel like his fluids would taste like fried fish and whiskey.
Man, I have a scented candle just like that.
It's one of the extra Tokyo Sea, Disney Sea popcorn flavors. They have shrimp, clam, and garlic, fish, and whiskey.
I can't tell out of those which one's the joke flavor.
That's the best part. Because truly only one of them was. Anyway, the bride pulls up. She's late to her own wedding. The wedding proceeds pretty much as normal. No one interrupts it. It seems to be a nice wedding. Everyone seems to love each other. Everyone seems very happy.
I mean, except for that Piper and Lena Headey like caught each other's eye very clearly.
Yeah, because no one would be looking up at the bride.
You're right, exactly.
I just fell in love with 200 people. They're all looking at me.
Did you fall in love or do you just need attention? Hang on.
My dress is full of dead crabs. Over.
As long as they're dead, lady, I'm good to go.
Leave it on the dunes.
Leave it on the dudes.
Anyway, we cut to later in the wedding when the bride is kind of guarding the punch bowl, and we find out it's because she dropped her wedding ring in it. So Lena Headey reaches in, fishes it out, puts it back on her finger.
Yeah, this is like their meet cute moment.
It's a metaphor for what she does to her.
Yeah, kind of. Did she Pringle her hands first?
Once you pop, you can't stop.
This is supposed to be their meet cute, and yet it's the same level of intimacy and interaction I had with the lady who saved me a plate of appetizers at my wedding.
Oh, and you guys have now been together for a number of years, right?
You mean that woman you married, Jake?
Oh, no. They saved Jake and I separate plates of appetizers. She was like, I got you extra crostinis. I was like, yes, bitch. And then I never saw her again.
But you're right. It's like, I think I have a thing for that woman.
Yeah, I'm like, it's your wedding day. You meet people like that all day long. Anyway, but there seems to be a kind of thing, and we will hear from her later, from Piper Peraboo's character Rachel later, that she felt like they instantly knew each other and would instantly be friends, like they had known each other in a past life.
That's how I felt when I met Ernie Hudson.
That's amazing. I love that for you. That's kind of how I felt when I met Carl Weathers. But like, I feel like that for friendships, that's a very real feeling.
Yes, I agree completely.
Totally identify with that. There are definitely people that I've met that I'm like, we're best friends now, like within seconds. For sure. But then she kind of translates that into like, clearly we're in love. And I was like, or you're just really good friends. Like,
yeah.
But here's the thing. Not that I am discounting the fact that she likes ladies. Clearly she does. But like, this is not the indicator. The indicator was maybe the fact that you just like ladies and you need to admit it to yourself. But like, you know.
I mean, she might also just be bi, and this is sort of a normal thing that she could
And
fall
this
in
is
love
one
with.
of them. Yeah.
You know, anyone. But that's not explained in the movie. So like, I understand why you would be like wondering, Paige.
Yeah, no, for sure. And she might, or maybe she's Pan, like our favorite villain from Queer Ultimatum, Vanessa. You never know.
Are we going to get into it? Do we
Let's
even
get
have
into it.
time?
I'm completely caught up.
God.
Let's go.
She's just going to be like, I need everyone to love me. That's a sexuality?
Yeah, it's called narcissism.
Love me, and they're not allowed to love anyone else ever. And you're like, what? Wait, hold on. I can cheat on them as much as I want. Yeah.
I'm going to win this show. I was like, there's no winning.
winner.
That's not like what this show is about.
This isn't Perfect Match. This isn't Too Hot to Handle. This is Ultimatum. Did you read the form?
Ultimatum it may be my favorite show.
Because it's so nuts.
It's the most toxic out of the ones you just mentioned, Paige, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like heroin of reality TV. You just inject that shit in your veins and it's like fentanyl. It's like too much, you're gone. You know, it's just like, it's too much.
I do see cops way overreacting to the Ultimatum Queer Edition when they come in contact with it. Like,
I just touched it and then I
performatively
passed
so.
out.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I woke up the next day. I had to go to rehab. Guys, toxic relationships are everywhere. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is. You can get in one. Guess what, everyone?
Congrats. You're in a toxic relationship.
I watched that show so quickly because I was like, they just introduced somebody. I'm like, oh my God, they're toxic too. They're way toxic.
Every single one of them.
Oh my God. She said, what? When Vanessa whispers across the table at dinner, you need to fuck off to her partner,
fuck
I was
off.
like,
fuck you, fuck off. I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is the first episode.
and like the other couples are like, yeah, we're really toxic, but we're not like Vanessa.
Yeah. I do love that they like they're like, she's the villain, right? Like we all agree.
I mean, she is fully, though.
I feel like at the end, Mildred catches up, though, for a close second.
Yeah.
But holy shit.
Vanessa's so bad, she overshadows what would be a great other villains.
Oh, yes. She's the proto-villain. Like, within that series, there are 4 or 5 other people who would have been the villain on any other series.
Yeah.
And not on this one because Vanessa exists.
Yeah.
She's like the Joker of their like DC universe. They're like, we don't work with her. She's unpredictable and scary.
We need to talk about more of this just amongst ourselves, but like...
We'll do a bonus episode on that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Scene 2.
Shit.
Nothing happens. They just like, and then like at the end they like yell twice or whatever.
And that's sorry. I thought we were just done. My bad.
No.
Sorry.
This is why I do the outlines.
And thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. The wedding is over. We cut to Luce's flower shop. And this is where she's kind of talking that one guy through what flower he should pick. And it's a like last chance flower. And in walks Rachel and invites her to dinner. And under the auspices of like, she's going to try and set her up with Cooper. But I think really what she wants is just to get close to her.
Yes.
And this was an excuse to do that.
I think she felt a spark there just from sight, alone. So she was like, I want to see what's going on here. Like, I get that.
Sure.
And I also sort of get that I think she might have been trying to set her up with Coop. And she just thought maybe they could be really good friends, or maybe she had other ill intent. I didn't get that vibe this early on.
Yeah, I don't think she has ill intent so much as I think she's intrigued by her.
Yeah.
And is like, I would like to be around her more, and what a convenient way for her to be with this person that is already around us a lot.
Yes.
That's what I interpret it as. And I think part of that is her not admitting the kind of core of her feelings, where it's like, I want her around more because I'm intrigued and attracted by her.
Yeah.
And has not really kind of processed that yet, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree.
I like Cooper's arc where he's like, I look at my married friends in my 30s and I'm like, ugh. And then he kidnaps a baby. I related to it a lot.
Wait, when does he kidnap a baby?
In the post credits, he has a baby.
Wait, what? There's a post-credit scene?
Did y'all not watch the whole movie where the guy's on the airplane? It cuts to Cooper and he's playing with a baby.
I
didn't see this at all.
See that. No. Normally when the credits go, I turn the movie off.
Yeah.
Did you see the boyfriend in the plane talking to the girl on the plane? The husband, I mean?
No.
Guys!
Was it after all the credits? Because I watched like a couple minutes of them
it's like
and
during
didn't see
the
it.
Imagine You and Me song. It's like they're cutting to different people and it cuts to he goes on the honeymoon and he's like, he like sits next to a woman and he's like writing a book about this whole thing. And then he's like, how long is this flight? And she's like 24 hours. And they like really hit it off.
That's the movie I want.
Yeah.
They also cut to Cooper and he's playing with the baby. And I was like, how'd he get a baby?
Mikey is like,
he's going to
clocked
hijack
that
that plane and steal a bunch of money is what Cooper's going to do.
DB Cooper.
The baby Cooper.
That's where the DV comes from.
That baby is full of money.
You guys missed the whole thing. Oh, God.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that at all.
That's when Huck starts laughing. And I was like, oh, they released him. He's not a hostage anymore.
I'm sorry, Huck?
Heck. What?
Heck,
What?
why would he have been a hostage? What are we
Did you
talking
think
about? What is
Coop's
happening?
name was Tom? This is my friend Tom Sawyer. And
No. Coop's name was Jim, and it's really more about the homoeroticism of their relationship.
hello.
No, Heck is on a well, Heck acts like he's kidnapped the whole time when he's acting. And then he gets on this plane. He's like laughing and smiling and stuff. And I was like, oh, he got released. This is great.
No, he's on the way to do the Watchmen apocalypse. He couldn't be happier.
All right. Well, that's the post credits. I'll go back to it, I guess. You just cut this at
Dr.
the end.
Manhattan who? Yeah. Anyway, we cut to Heck and Rachel are at an auction and they bid on a sofa. They end up paying more than they want for it. But this is where she basically tells them like, hey, I invited the florist to dinner. We can invite Coop. We're going to connect him up. It'll be great.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, great, I'll cook. And she's like, okay. So we cut to Luce's house where she goes home to talk to her mom, who seems to be older and single and depressed.
Well, we come to find out that like her dad left her. Like,
Yeah.
that's why she's depressed.
Right. For his own sister to ensure that the bloodline was pure. You got it.
That is not what is in the book or in the movie, but who knows?
A Lannister always pays their debts.
Ugh.
Anyway, So she tells her mom that she actually has something to do that night, that she's going out with friends, doesn't expect it to be a date, but she will find out otherwise when she gets there. We cut to Heck at work with his weird, creepy boss, who was super creepy at the wedding, too.
He was super creepy at the wedding. I love that guy.
Yeah, I know for sure. In everything else, I love him. But in this movie, he's weirdly ominous and then it never pays off. And you're just like, what?
He's in a BBC show called Coupling that I really dug way back in the day. So whenever I see him, I'm like, oh, it's Patrick. And that's not his real name, nor his name in this movie.
Nope.
But that was his name in that show. So every time I see him, I'm like, oh, hey, it's Patrick.
Yeah, in this movie, he's just a weirdly menacing boss who it's just here to make us, understand that Heck doesn't like his job and would want to do a travel book, as we're going to find out. His travel book that he pitches in the next scene when they're all at the house for dinner, I actually would buy that book. That's a great book where it's like, what's the coolest thing happening in the world at any given time? Which I think you'd have some chapters that have a lot of things and some that have a fewer amount of things. But I think that's an interesting concept for a book. I have a cookbook kind of like that called Baked Occasions, where it literally goes through calendar wise and tells you all the holidays that happen and traditional baked dishes for those holidays.
Perfect name for that cookbook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think blogs sort of filled this space shortly after this movie came out.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. But I love holding books.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying specifically for the traveling. Travel blogs became a thing shortly after this movie came out. And I think largely because it is sort of a good idea. And it's just faster to publish a blog on your website than get someone to publish your book,
Yeah. But he really does need to write about the barfing with the running of the bulls, because I was not ready and it was gross.
I am not aware of barf. I mean, I probably would barf if I was staring down a 2-ton bull, but
Okay, so I did see a dude get gored. He's fine. Well, he went away in an ambulance. I assume he's fine. Anyway.
Yeah, because famously everyone taken away in an ambulance isn't dead
fine.
And or at least financially fucked.
No, it was his leg, but it wasn't a mortal wound.
You have 2 of them. He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. But they warned us literally as we drove up that morning. They're like, hey, by the way, they don't always tell people, so we're going to tell you right now. The whole thing with the running of the bulls is that you drink all night to get the courage to run from the bulls the next day. And so they are all fucking hammered.
Hell yeah, I'll do it.
Would you do it, Mikey?
I'd do it.
They're slower than you would think.
What is that supposed to mean?
I mean, they're easily outrunnable.
Mikey immediately took offense to that.
I want to fight one.
Mikey.
They do have a bullfight at the end of it, and that was really sad because that was not fun.
No, just fisticuffs, man. I don't want to use the swords.
I
or whatever.
do want to see Mikey just cold cock a bull.
And then get flown 3 feet in the air.
Yo,
that bull would buck you so fucking fast.
Nuck and buck. But they're way bigger than you expect them to be.
That's what I told her, yeah.
Just as animals. But also, having watched it, a sober person could probably easily outrun most of them because it's early in the morning for them too, and they're also not super into it.
But I know there's one bull in there that also loves cardio like me, and there's no way I can outrun the cardio bull. I'm going to get fucked.
Yeah. Well, and there's a whole bunch of people too, so you know.
You don't have to be faster than the bull. You just can be faster than the drunk guy next to you.
I can definitely be faster than Mikey, so I'll be fine.
I will trip your ass and throw you at a bull. I'll be like,
that'll kill somebody.
take him.
Mikey banes me in front of a bull and then lets my body fall off of his knee into the path. Yeah.
You merely adopted the beef. I was born in it.
I grew up in a jog from the bulls.
And a jog from the bulls is where you grew
Jog
up.
from the bulls.
I actually do think I would do it, Mikey.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
I will watch you guys do it.
I would be scared shitless. I would have to drink all night.
Yeah. Listen, Mikey, I'd be super scared to do it too. But all you'd have to do is get me in front of where they're going to be running, and then I'm running.
How far do you run? Is it like a 5K?
It's less than that. It's really not as far as, not all that far.
I love everyone out there has been drinking all night. I show up super well slept. I got like tennis shoes on. I'm dressed like in running gear.
I would be sweating drunk. I'd be like, oh, fuck. We got to run a 5K.
It's the equivalent of like a few big city blocks. That's it.
I'm just lining up like I'm running the Boston Marathon and everyone else is wearing like white pants, white shirt, red beret thing around their neck, throwing up from still being drunk the night before.
I have a red sash from it. Yeah.
Love it.
It's basically just like a drunk 100-meter dash with cows involved.
Okay, I'm back in.
Oh, listen,
Right?
you better move,
Move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way.
We should probably get back into this movie.
Anyway, so during the dinner, Rachel is kind of like pushing Cooper and Luce together. And Luce eventually tells Heck, like, hey, I'm gay. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I really like the way she reveals it because she reveals it right before Coop knocks on the door for the quote unquote setup, you know? And
Right.
so Heck is like, Heck and Fiddlesticks, we done set you up. And then like he has to go like run interference all night with Coop.
Well, and I love that he just immediately tells Coop. Like, he doesn't just let him fail. He's like, by the way, she's gay. And so, and he's like, well, nonsense. They teach the birds and the bees about me. And I was like, what the are you fucking bees?
I thought that was a pretty funny joke.
Mikey, this is what I was saying. You have a lot of Coop energy, or Coop has a lot of Mikey energy.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Just it's a hard line, the charming to asshole line. It's a hard line to walk.
I think yours is a slight more self-deprecating, which makes it more likable.
Yes.
That's the strategy you have to go.
Yep.
You have to be like, they tell the birds and the bees about me because I accidentally step on both of them.
Because I'm so clumsy. Love me.
Oops. I got to stop hanging out next to hives. Oops.
Speaking of hives, you want to sleep together?
God.
Paige, you laugh, but I've never heard that not work for Mikey.
I've never heard it work for him, but also never heard it not work. Oh, God.
Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the groceries, prep work, and the cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more. Plus, over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have tons of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Factor now offers like a load of snacks. In fact, we just got some of these like smoothies that were really great. They have a banana chocolate smoothie that like I drank way too much of. It was so good. And even better than that, when things get hectic, Factor's like flexible. So you can change up your order every week with plans from like 4 to like 18 meals per week. So you can like have a bunch of meals or just a few meals depending upon like how many times you need meals that week, right? So it's great. So head to factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 and use code romancingthepod50 to get 50% off. That's code romancingthepod50 at factormeals.com/romancingthepod50 to get 50% off.
Anyway, during this dinner party that is going kind of horribly wrong, the food's bad or whatever, they get into a discussion of, is love at first sight real? And Rachel is like, no, it's not. This is something that grows over time, which is what I would agree with. And Luce is like, no, it's right. Yeah, love at first sight. That's the business. And then you just find out if you're right or not. And I was like, what?
I do think she puts it a very sweet sort of way, but I fundamentally disagree with her.
Same. Yeah.
I get quote unquote love at first sight. Like I know what that feeling is, and it was never love.
It's attraction or infatuation or, like intrigue. Like it is a lot of things. I'm not discounting the idea that you see someone from across the whatever and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to know that person. And sometimes after you get to know that person, maybe that turns into something. But sometimes you get up close to them and you realize that they have a crazy squeaky voice. And you're just like, oh no, this was a mistake. And then you turn around and go away.
Or they're a sociopath.
or they're like, it's totally fine for me to cheat on you a bunch, but the second you are attracted to anybody.
Hey, we're talking about Vanessa again. Everything bends back towards Vanessa. She is like this black hole that sucks all conversations back to her.
She's a nexus point, sure.
Did they not show a lot more of the sex scenes than I was used to on a reality show?
So many more. Well, I think because almost everyone did this time, which I don't think that's been the case in other seasons where definitely some people did.
Well, usually they dim the lights and they did hook up last night or whatever. And then, but this one they're like, watch them. And you're like, I mean.
Well, all right, shit. Normally, you got to pay a monthly subscription for this shit.
With Vanessa being like, I'm Vanessa. She screams her own name when she orgasms.
Are you guys laughing because that's weird, or you're laughing because you don't do that?
It's crazier to think about you doing it.
Paige is done. Paige
I'm
is
done. I'm at the giggle point of the night. It's too late. It's crazy.
What's Piper Peekaboo's doing on this scene?
What is Peekaboo Street up to now in this movie?
Peekaboo Street goes out onto the roof in the rain with Lena Headey, and they have just a tiny conversation, but then they're immediately called back in to the dinner party.
And it's pretty innocuous, the conversation, but she's
innocuous? Yeah, it is pretty innocuous. Yeah.
Like a vaccine against
exactly.
dudes.
You are the vaccine-based superhero, innocuous. That's what you are. And listen, CDC, if you had come out with Inoculacon or whatever, it would have been way more successful with the dumbs.
I heard lesbianism was released from a Chinese lab to get rid of America.
Oh, no, Mikey.
I mean, I think in context.
It's definitely because somebody fucked a bat. It's not. That's terrible. That's a horrible thing to say.
Call me Big Daddy when you bat that ass up. Sorry.
When you flap that ass up.
Bats are mammals, so they would have an ass, right?
You a fine mother flapper, won't you flap that ass up?
This is the word. Welcome to part 6 of Imagine You and Me. Vanessa would do this. She's like, I saw someone looking at me at the wedding and I love them and they love me and we're supposed to be together.
This is a Vanessa kind of move. You're right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But then she would they'd finally hook up and she'd be like, how could you be married? How could you do that to me? We met at my wedding. What are you doing? I thought you cared about me. Anyway, so Coop takes Luce home. And I do like that they kind of go out to eat and they have a weird friendship in this movie that I almost wish was explored a little bit more because he's one of the few people that is brutally honest with her later in the film.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted a little bit more of the two of them together.
Yeah.
But instead, they do have a conversation of well, what if you met someone that you like, but there is already somebody else? And he's like, well, I just fuck him. I don't give a shit. And she's like, I think that I would have a problem with that because I don't want to hurt people. And he's like, well, their partner is their problem, not mine. Which I know people like that. And ooh, it is a mindset that bothers me.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oof.
It's not great. Yeah. Coop's explanation is, I think, the grossest, because he's like, yeah, but of course, the hot ones are always taken, so you sort of have to break them up.
Yeah.
God. Oh, Coop, you shitbag. Which this is one of those scenes where...
he's like a crap scallion.
But this is one of those scenes where one character is literally telling the character that's about to do something what they're about to do.
Yeah.
And it's in a different context, right? And I really sort of dug that about this movie because Luce does what he is bragging about being able to do with people who are in couples.
Right.
Yeah, it's not great. It's a real Vanessa kind of move, Lena.
It's a real Vanessa move. We cut to the grocery store where both Luce and her coworker friend that we only see twice in this movie and don't have a lot of information about are shopping. So are Rachel and Heck. And they keep running into each other. But this is where she finds out that Luce is gay. And there's kind of a vibe in the grocery store where it's like, I'm not following you, I promise. But it's strange because Heck is also there and it's odd. The whole thing is odd.
It is weird, I think, because we know that Piper Peekaboo Street or whatever has like romantic feelings for Luce, right? But like her husband doesn't know that. So Heck is just like, oh, she's making a friend. I love this. I'll encourage this sort of thing.
Yeah, he's very encouraging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's very encouraging, but I also think that Rachel, her character doesn't even know that at this point. I think Luce knows because Luce is gay and out and is like, yeah, that's what this is. And I think for Rachel, she's just like, I don't know what this is.
What made me feel bad for Luce is I bet this sort of thing has happened to Luce before.
Oh yeah, that's 100%.
And not gone her way, you know, and like the person decided to stay with their boyfriend or their husband or whatever. But
or it was one-sided and the affection wasn't returned. Like any number of scenarios that could have happened.
And that's why Luce keeps it tight.
But I think that's also why Luce keeps her distance.
Yeah.
Like, Luce doesn't really insert herself into Rachel's life.
No, I think Rachel pursues her.
Yes.
No, it definitely did not show any insertion or anything.
Mikey has some notes about the movie overall. But yeah, I think Rachel really pursues Luce, not the other way around. Luce lets it happen, but she is not the, not aggressor, that's not the right word, but she is not the pursuer.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so we cut to their apartment, Rachel and Heck, and we find out that Rob, his boss, is cheating on his girlfriend, and Rachel is like, well, he should find out what he wants to do, if he wants to be with her or not be with anybody, before somebody gets hurt, which again is somebody stating advice they should take, but not they have not gotten there yet. Anyway, we cut to the flower shop where we have a really strange interaction with a woman that I don't think is in a safe relationship, but it is played for a joke, and that's kind of upsetting.
It was 2005, but no, you're right.
Yeah. It was like, dude, oh no.
Yeah, no, not good.
Not good. But she gets a call for a delivery. She takes it as an out so that she does not have to stay with this crying woman.
I mean, because the woman's crying like, hey, I'm going to tell my boyfriend we're pregnant and he's going to be super excited about it. And then she like breaks down and is like, no, he's going to hate it. He's going to hate me. And then she's like crying and like holding on to her. Like,
but she's like, I'm a florist, not a borist. Get out of here.
I'm not your florist. So
yeah, that'll be $125.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Exactly.
So we cut to, she takes a delivery. It's Cooper. And Cooper is like, do you want to lick it? And she's just like, no, but we can be friends. And he's like, all right, for now. And it's like, Cooper, take a hint. Yeah. Like, no.
I do like that she doesn't really play his for now as a joke. Like, if you see her face before the scene ends, she's just like, this fucking guy.
I would assume he's really nice to her at this dinner because they like stay friends.
Yes. Yes. I almost thought that this was a joke and he was just like, I wanted to see you for lunch and this would have been fun, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, we cut to Henrietta, Rachel's younger sister, her school presentation, which honestly, pretty cool presentation, although she doesn't seem to know shit about planets. Like it's all cool and set up, but she's like, oh yeah, I invited Luce because she helped me with my thing. And I'm like, what? Why?
Did that scene get cut?
We don't see them work on the science fair project, but we do see her answer the unstoppable object and the immovable force or whatever question. That's when they sort of bond.
Yeah, well, and she seems to be the only one that listens to that little girl. She's the only one.
I will say her galaxy presentation does seem like it was consulted with by a florist because it sucks.
Oh, no. It's fun. It's just not very informative.
Or accurate. It's school, Paige. It's not do what you want.
It would have been really funny because this scene is like showing us that Peekaboo Street has like full-on feelings for Luce.
That this kid is not going to go into science and math.
It is showing us that Henrietta's not going to go into science and math. You're right, Mike.
But it would have been really funny if they had this like sweet moment between the two of them. Or really, it's just Peekaboo Street looking at Luce.
And it's just her, like, mental whatever, because we flash back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity.
But once that flashes back to reality, I would have loved for the teacher to be like, that was insane, and you're getting an F. And then the scene ends.
She's like, look at the arm of the Milky Way, and, like, points to the moon. I was like, this dumb fucking kid.
Todd, what you're describing happened on an episode of Smart Guy one time, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, where their teacher was Yeardley Smith. Great, crazy voice. And the scene just opens with, "Thank you for that presentation on what if the X-Men were at Iwo Jima. Next." And you're like, what?
Hey, can we back up one prezo? I gotta see that deck. Like, hang on. Show me that deck. I gotta see what's
up. What if the
up.
X-Men were at Iwo Jima? And it has been burned into my brain ever since.
Can I get a deck pick? Like, I just want to see what's in that presentation.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get back into this, though.
Anyway, so the school presentation, we get kind of I interpret this as kind of an internal vibe of like the sexual tension going on between the two of them. But what the fuck, Mikey?
Are you
what the
okay?
fuck just happened? No, Mikey just ducked out of the way of something.
I think those gunshots were further away than they sounded.
Mikey doesn't live in a great area.
Could have been a firework.
Anyway, so we get this kind of out-of-body experience. We cut back to reality, and we cut to her in her office talking to her coworkers who were her bridesmaids. And she's like, well, this person eloped on the day they met, so clearly it's right? And her coworkers are like, no, what?
That's not the norm.
It's a terrible idea. Like, I guess sometimes it works, but like the odds are against you. So we cut to her at the video store after.
But also, that was like all of my friends who were in the military right after high school, you know?
So many.
It's because you get paid more in the military if you get married.
Yes, and you get better housing.
Well, that actually does explain it, I guess.
Oh, did you not know that?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the only reason a lot of people get married early in the military is because you get more money and better housing if you do.
Not one of those relationships is still together.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people break up either when they leave the service or when it is no longer financially advantageous for them to be together.
Yeah.
Anyway, at the video store, Piper Paraboo's looking around. She's renting a couple things, and she picks up a porno called Georgie's Bush.
Yeah.
Which I can only imagine is some sort of W-themed cunnilingus porno, and I would love to research this just because I think it'd be...
Mission accomplished.
That's what the poster should have been for.
That's what the poster said.
Yeah.
Her pussy so dry they call it Desert Storm. Can she ever get wet? Georgie's Bush.
Syria, I barely know her. We're like more than halfway through the movie. Like they really just go from like room to room and like whisper at each other.
So she runs into her mom in the video store, but she manages to like get the movie, go home, and we cut to her watching it, but watching it just kind of confused.
Yeah, she did not seem like she was super aroused by it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just weird direction or what. I don't know what was going on.
It seemed like she was actually doing research, like
just like
objectively watching porno.
Yeah, well, and this sounds terrible, but I'm just like, there's not like mysteries in it. Are your needs being met at home?
Yeah, like if you're watching porn and you're like, man, the lighting in this scene is off. Like you're not using it for its intended purpose.
But come on, if the lighting is off, you're gonna go to another scene.
I mean, if it's really bad, yeah, that can definitely impact it.
Why does this look like season 7 of Game of Thrones?
A Lannister always sucks his dicks.
Jesus.
She's looking at that porno with her expression is basically like, lick it. And you're just like, honey, no, what?
She's like, what is a lesbian? She's like, Luce, who is the guy if we are both women? And you're like,
well, that's not.
You're about as good at school as your little sister there.
Yeah. Oh my God. But if we're roommates, then yeah. Anyway, so her husband shows up and it's just like, oh, you were watching porn? Let's watch it together. Because like we haven't had sex in a while. So like, let's do that. And she's just like, no. Oh my God, no. And I'm just like, that could have been fun though. You never know. Like, you're married.
She also does say in this scene like that that sort of thing doesn't turn her on, which
Sure,
okay,
people have their
but is that
preferences.
confirming that you are straight? Like, I'm confused by what
I
that
thought
scene
she was
is.
lying to him
Me
because she
too.
was
It has
afraid.
to-
Yeah.
It has to be that, right?
Yeah.
I think the movie should have shown that a little bit more. Like she was like getting into it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and then lied about it instead of looking very confused.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's a woman?" And you're like, "I don't. What is this?"
Calm down,
film?"
Marsha Blackburn, with your "what is a woman" bullshit.
Oh
Oh, I
God,
forgot about that.
what is an evil dragon witch?
Marsha Blackburn is doing her best The Way Down Workshop impression.
Oh, Yorkie hair. The taller the hair, the
Look,
closer to
I
God.
joined that church to lose some weight, so that's what we're doing right now.
No,
The weight you
Mikey.
lose is the remnant you leave behind.
Anyway, so she shuts it down. And we cut to a bonfire later, which I think is like a giant tailgating fair kind of thing. There's not a ton of explanation why there's a giant column of fire, but a bunch of food trucks. But it looked fun.
It did look fun. I love the smell of hot dog at night.
It smells like
It smells
hot dog.
like hot dog. I was like,
That's my favorite line in the entire movie.
same. It like really stuck out to me because it was the dumbest line. But I was like, I have said shit like that to like my father-in-law, like back when I was married. Like, you just don't really know what to say, but you're stuck with someone you have to have a relationship with.
I like Giles from Buffy being like, "We can talk about sports and weather and shit, but like, don't talk about my daughter. I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah, I don't want to talk about you porking my child.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like that this scene was basically like, this is the 4th of July, but it's like it's in England or whatever. And I'm like, what is this with hot dogs and fireworks?
Guy
and-
Fawkes Day? I don't know. Maybe. I just like hot dogs. Anyway, so they don't talk about it. And her parents are giving her a lot of pressure for like grandkids. And then they've let Henrietta or H just off to hang out with Luce, which again is just a random adult that they know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I know this turns out okay in this movie, but a lot of times that person is maybe not the best person to leave a child with.
I mean, because this movie is a movie, like, it turns out fine.
Yeah, it turns
But
out fine.
yeah, it is a weird parenting decision to let your kid go hang out alone with an adult you met 4 days ago.
Yeah, and regardless of gender or orientation,
Oh,
it does
yeah,
not
that has
matter.
nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it. It is just an adult that you don't know well.
Yeah.
Like that is I was like, oh no.
Like, if they were even like a family friend, I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, if it was like this is her friend from college, so they've been with the family forever. Okay, there's still a risk, but like
What flower says kidnapping?
the one that you're going to extinguish with trauma. Sorry, I'm in a real goofy mood today.
I am too. I'm so glad you didn't like this film. I was like, I hope Paige doesn't like this because it's so weird.
I just Googled what is the best flower to get someone who's been kidnapped.
John Bouquet Ramsey.
I like that joke wasn't like delivered, it just leapt out of you. Oh my God. We should not be allowed to record this late. We're losing our fucking minds.
I don't know what to do. My world has changed. I can't go back.
Can you understand what Paige is saying? No, I can't either. I can see her talking. I think it's because it's so high pitched. Zoom won't even transmit her audio. What was it that tickled you so much, Paige?
John Bouquet Ramsey. Oh my goodness. But that florist does specialize in Lindbergh baby's breath.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Matthew Good, her husband, is trying in these next couple scenes multiple times to talk to her about kind of like what's going on. Like, hey, you don't really seem yourself. What's happening?
It honestly seems like they have not had sex since the wedding,
Yeah.
which means they haven't consummated it and probably could get it annulled.
I imagine they probably did on their wedding night, maybe.
I think he's got a good case for annulment no matter which way you cut it.
I mean, yeah, depending on how long it's been. But
Yeah. I think it is a length of time, but it really does seem like this whole movie takes place over like 4 weeks.
It's a little longer than that, but not much. So she tries to call Luce from the house and hangs up.
Yeah.
But then Luce calls back and gets Heck on the phone. And Heck is like, hey, I can't go to this thing. I have to go to a work party. You should take my wife out on the night that I have a work party. You guys should have fun. Like, go do a thing.
Yeah. But Luce is like on board. She's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But like,
yeah.
Rachel's very much like, no, let's not do that. Let's not. Because I think she's like,
Yeah.
I can't be around her because I'm in love with her.
Right. And so this is where they end up going to. I couldn't tell if it was soccer or rugby because American. And
It was soccer, Paige. It was football over there. Yeah, it was definitely football.
But she teaches her to project loudly so she can yell her insults more effectively.
I did think that was like very English football club. Like,
yeah, you're a wanker number 9.
Yeah.
Loved it.
But it like causes her to like hug onto her, showing her how to like fill her diaphragm and like use it to sustain and all that shit. I get it. I see what you're doing here, movie. I'm into it.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
Yes. There's literally a million other things that you could give an excuse for her to touch her besides like teach me how to talk loud.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting choice for
Maybe
sure.
it's just because I'm really good at talking loud, and if you guys want instructions, I can like really teach you, Mikey. So like maybe when we do the bonus episode from your pool, I can do this same exercise with you.
Don't touch me. No.
You guys need to get the like unbreakable wine glasses and do it we should do our one about queer ultimatum from the pool.
I would totally do that. Mikey, set up your redneck Riviera pool or whatever.
I was going to set it up today, but it rained all day.
Yeah, it's supposed to rain for the next few days, but we should do this soon. I really want to do it. It'll be fun.
Anyway, so from the soccer match, they move on to Dance Dance Revolution at an arcade. Super fun.
Yeah, they go dancing.
The whole lighting and everything changes. It seems to have this like glow about it, kind of for that like new relationship energy feel.
Yes.
Yeah, I like arcades. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're walking home. They're talking about different flowers, and this is where she says that the lily means I dare you to love me. And they get to Rachel's house, and she leans in, but a car passes and illuminates them, and she pulls back, and she goes to bed.
But there's no way that she missed her leaning in. Like, it was very
that was
clear
obvious.
what was happening. Yeah. And it wasn't like she was looking away. Like, they were looking at each other, and she, like, leaned in. It's just that the headlights of the car, like, shocked her out of doing it.
Yeah.
That stopped her. It wasn't even Luce stopping her.
No, of course not. We cut to Cooper and Heck go out for drinks, and Heck's like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but I gotta figure something out. And she has asked me to go to dinner with her that night.
Yeah.
So they go out to dinner, but they end up trying to hook up in the forest where they run into a gay couple also hooking up in the forest.
I did think that was funny because the whole conceit of that is like, we have like a place at home. We have our own flat. We have a nice bed. It's very comfortable. We don't have to do this anymore.
Because trees are exciting. What if it's an Ent? Then suddenly it's a 3-way.
That's what happened to the Ent wives.
I've hooked up in a forest. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. I like the risque nature of that too.
We know about your shack life.
Yeah, Mikey. Oh, wait, that was to me. Never mind. Shit.
Yeah, no, that was you.
My bad.
Yeah, don't.
You did
Yeah,
the shack.
Mikey, me.
I think it's actually correct to say historical homestead.
I think it's colonial fort.
It actually is a colonial fort that I colonially forked in.
So what you're saying, it's got good bones.
It certainly had one that day. Hello.
Hello. And like 20 syringes.
But I think Piper Parabou's character or whatever is doing this because she is not into her husband and needs some like
excitement, something to trigger
to sort
memories.
of like get the juices flowing, as it were.
Again, the movie doesn't do good enough job because Peter Piper says that they had a good relationship, like sexually, before their marriage.
Yes, I know, Mikey. That it is somewhat confusing, which is why I think ultimately she's just bi. She knows she's bi, and everyone in her life knows she's bi, because a lot of those conversations would have had to have taken place if this was a huge departure from what is normal for her.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that in this scene, the Pied Piper is trying to charm that snake.
Yeah.
That trouser snake.
She might be bi, but the only thing she says bye to is heck.
Yeah, she could still be bi, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, they decide to go home, and we cut to the next day where she goes to the flower shop and is like, we can't do this. We got to stop doing this. And Luce is like, what are you talking about? But then they end up making out on a bunch of flowers.
Luce knows what she's talking about.
I mean,
Luce
she does, but like, she just bursts in and she's like, oh, we're having this conversation now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a very sort of abrupt way to have a conversation with someone you're not dating, but are like, clearly vibing with. But, I mean, she does, quote unquote, break up with her in this scene and then literally
the scene
comes
after
back
this
in.
one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because she's like, it's got to stop. And then she doesn't even make it to the door, turns around, makes out. They make out on the flowers.
Yeah.
But then they hear Heck come into the store. And Luce goes out there, and Heck has this really...
Heck's like, my wife's so sad. I think I'm doing something wrong.
I want to make her happy. I was just like, oh my God, this is brutal.
It is really sad. And it's almost like you don't want this type of story in your romantic movie because it's a real fucking downer. So like,
especially because he's not a bad guy.
Yes, he's a great guy, Paige.
At least make him an asshole or something.
Well, no, I don't want him to be an asshole either, because I would like to think that I would react the way that he does.
Of course.
If like Natalie told me she was gay and in love with one of our friends or whatever, I would want to do what he does, which I think is the right way to play it. But I also feel like it still makes me not like the movie, because we're essentially watching two people fall in love, but also breaking someone's heart. And that's it sort of sucks. When all you could do is like, they still meet at the wedding, but she calls off the wedding because of it.
Yes.
Then she goes on a year to like discover what's going on with her sexually. And then they reconnect.
They go out of the way to make him a good guy, which is an interesting choice because it makes it more about her journey. But like, it would be a little easier if he was like cheating on her the whole time.
Or if she was married to Coop or the boss. Yeah,
Y'all buy me this shirt.
It's a shirt that says MILF. Man, I love fireworks. Mikey, I will wear this shirt with you.
That's like my sense of humor.
At whatever July 4th event we go to at Chris's place.
That's my sense of humor, man. It's hard to capture it in a shirt. Paige, you don't have to react. We're talking about it.
Anyway, okay. So after overhearing Heck, Rachel runs. And what I do think that a very funny filmmaking mistake happens here. Todd, I bet you caught it too.
No, I'm laughing because when you started, I then went and reacted to the photo Mikey sent. So it made Mikey laugh and then I laughed. I'm so sorry, Paige.
That's okay.
He thumbs upped it, which I think is offensive.
Okay, so Rachel overhears, right? And so when Luce gets back into the back of the florist, she goes out the back and Rachel is a solid 50 yards away running. Yeah. Right? So we cut to the next scene and they're in a park and Luce is caught up with her. But the editor did not cut the scene close enough. They didn't trim it right. So you see Lena Headey go from a stopped start and like run to catch up with her.
Yeah, you do.
And I couldn't stop laughing at it. It was great.
Yeah, literally cut 3 seconds off of that and it looks like she's been running the whole time.
Not even. It's like a point, like a fifth of a second or something off the front of that, and just shave it and it would have been fine.
Because it does cut and you see her just standing there like waiting for the director to yell action.
Yes. It's crazy. But this is where they kind of break up and she's just like, I will leave. Don't forget me. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
So we cut to Heck at work. He apparently lies to someone. I don't even know what he does. He seems like a stockbroker of some sort.
I got that.
I don't even know what the point of this scene was. Because I was like, is he mad? Was that what the point of this scene is?
I think this movie wants to give Heck a journey, like an arc to his character. And his arc is he doesn't love his job and he wants to write a book. So he, at the end of the movie, he quits his job and apparently writes a book on the plane.
Oh, that's why he's writing that book on the plane?
Yeah.
Okay. We're all putting the pieces
Hang
together.
tight just a second. I spilled cream soda all over myself.
I hate when we're recording and you cream yourself.
God dang it, Paige.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Thankfully, none of the electronics. Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
It was just like across my lap and my legs. Sorry about that. Anyway,
It's okay.
so Heck has a bad day at work. He quits. Meanwhile, at the flower shop, she throws a guy out who wants a breakup plant, but she goes home and her mom is dressed up and going out. And she kind of tells her mom what's happened. And her mom is just like, well, loving someone is the only thing that matters. And I'm like, no. Like,
You're worth nothing if you're not with someone.
yeah, exactly. I was like,
Yeah, I honestly would have liked the mom's arc if she was just like, yeah, I'm just not going to date. You know, I might again, but
Yeah.
it's not something I'm needing to do right now.
I'm going to get super into painting, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do the fun old lady stuff. Pick your craft, pick your booze, and just do it.
Yeah. I mean, or at any stage of life. You're not even an old lady or an old dude. You do whatever you want. If you want to date or not.
I love my husband. I am very glad that I met him.
Oh,
but
for
if
sure, yeah.
for some reason he dies first, God only knows what I'm going to do. I might just be the weird lady. I might get a ton of cats. Like, I have so many options.
Well, Paige, if Natalie is any proof, you can have a ton of cats and dudes will still be into it.
Not healthy ones.
I'm going to stick with the one cat because he's like so cute.
You're not allowed to have more than 3 animals unless you live on a farm, and that's how I live my life.
That's fair. That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
What about birds?
Bird people are not my people.
Or fish?
Fish are okay.
Sea monkeys?
Sure.
That's a whole colony. Ants?
I'm out.
I don't fuck with ant people. Yeah.
What about rat people?
Definitely
I fuck
out.
with some rat people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, she's a rat girl? Then I'll definitely splint her.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
Mikey made a funny, Paige.
Go ninja, go ninja, go.
Go ninja, go. Anyway, back to this movie. So Heck comes home drunk because he was drinking because he quit his job. Rachel tries to tell him drunk, like, I wasn't looking for it, but something happened. And admittedly, they have only kissed. That is the only thing that happened, which is still not okay.
They
but
made
like
out a little bit. Like, it was a little bump
whatever,
and grind, but no, like, full sex or anything. Like, making out, yeah.
Anyway, she tries to tell him everything, and it looks like he has fallen asleep. But when she leaves, he reveals that he was not asleep. He was listening the whole time, which is a little frustrating because I'm like, I know it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but like, you should have that conversation.
Yes, I do hate that he fell asleep, or did he? But I do think they position his uncomfortability in having those like serious, vulnerable talks as why she gets away with like not really telling him in this movie, because he was awake. He was hearing her.
He also quit his job the same day. Like, maybe
it's a lot.
wait.
He's having a big day.
That's a big day.
But she doesn't know that.
Yeah, she finds out.
Yes.
But still has to tell him. I mean, you know. Anyway, Coop, because he clearly has told Coop off screen. Coop confronts Luce about it. And I don't like that he calls her a dumb slut, because I'm like, first of all, Luce was not the pursuer. Like,
no, but this is Coop saying to Luce what he should be saying to himself, because he is doing the dumb slut behavior.
He's doing the dumb behavior, yes.
But this movie does this sort of thing a lot, which I sort of dig. But yeah, that's what this is.
And by behavior, I mean not considering other people's feelings when planning out your sexual exploits.
Yeah.
So we cut to Rachel's parents' house because they're celebrating their birthday, and Luce calls and cancels a hangout with her younger sister. And at this point, Heck already knows. And so he's just like, I thought I could handle this. I thought I could take it. I thought I could just stay with you and have you pretend to love me or whatever, but I can't. So like, I'm making the decision for you. I'm leaving, basically.
Which is, I mean, he says it as he's going to the car, though. He's like, this is not me leaving, more or less. Like, I can't stay in a relationship and watch you be in love with someone more than you love me. Yeah. That's unfair to me. So I am leaving.
Yes, of course.
But this is not my doing, more or less, is what he's saying.
Right.
Because I really do think he loves the shit out of his wife, man. Like, he loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I also think that maybe they stay friends or something after the movie. Because and maybe this is just my bias. Because if one day Jake came out to me, I'd be like, oh my God, can I cater the wedding? We are now brunch friends. And I love you. You're still going to be in my life. We are BFFs. I'm going to go find somebody else to bone. But like, we are still, of course, friends to the end. Yeah.
I do think, based upon what we see from his character in this movie, that in time he definitely will be her friend.
Yeah.
But he's going to have to go through some shit. Yeah. I don't think it would be immediate. But I do think if they get married, he's going to be at that wedding.
But he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. No, absolutely. I could fully understand somebody not in that moment.
I know 2 people whose significant other came out to them after they got married, and they are all not very friendly.
Yeah, so Mikey, I would have trouble with that, but I feel like his character in the movie, he seems like a better guy than me. Mm-hmm. But I think it would definitely be understandable to grieve the loss of the relationship you at least thought you had. And I think that's normal. That'll take time.
I would be like a wedding singer type of moment where I was like, I wish this is stuff you would have figured out yesterday. But yelling at,
yeah. But that's not how it works sometimes. Like that actually, I mean, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and I think a part of that also is I have a weird level of confidence where I'm just like, hey, if something happens, I'll go meet new people and it'll be fine and something's going to work out. Not everyone feels that confident about it.
Yeah, but everyone should. Everyone is like entitled to and valuable and like should feel love, you know?
Sure.
If that's what they want.
And you can get love and validation from many different places. Yes. So, you got a lot of options. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like food.
Or friends or a myriad of different relationships in your life or, finding your purpose in things that you do or, whatever. Anyway, so like.
To live your version of a full life, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Whatever that looks like to you. Back in the house with her family, they're like, wait a second. So you cheated on him? Was it with Cooper? And she's just like, no, it's with Luce. That's why she called to cancel. And her mom does not want to accept it, which the movie does not really address.
No, the mom is...
No.
Well, I do think that the mom is hyper-focused on the kids, like the grandkids, right? So once... they make a joke of it as her dad's driving to go like do the last scene, right? And she's like, well, what about kids? And that's when her dad says...
he makes the turkey baster joke. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that sort of does settle her down some. She's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, fine.
Because I think for her, it's just she wants grandkids. It's not, I don't want my kid to be gay. I don't get that vibe from her.
Right.
But also, my mom has done that kind of shit to me.
I get asked... on the regular, especially after we bought the house, people are like, so what's that third bedroom for? And I was like, do you mean my office or the guest room? Anyway, so this is where her dad has the conversation of like, hey, you gotta love who you're gonna love and be who you're gonna be, and I will drive you.
Yeah.
But everyone piles into the car. Meanwhile, we see that Luce has gotten into a taxi to go somewhere undefined, not in the movie.
I assumed it was just like the airport. She's going to Heathrow or some shit, but to go on holiday.
Yeah.
I did love that they go to the flower shop, assuming that she'll be there, that Luce will be there, but it's actually Luce's mom who's now running the flower shop.
Yes.
And so like she runs in and she's like, where's Lucy? And she's like, try that again. And so she asks nicer. And then she's like, wait, you're her, aren't you? And then Luce's mom looks at the customer and says, have you ever sold flowers?
And just hands her an apron.
Hands her the apron, and then they all leave and pile in the car. I thought that was hilarious.
But there are cell phones.
There are, and they do call in this little montage that sets up the last scene. But Luce doesn't fully grasp the situation that is now at play.
Yeah, she just says, you can't do this, so stop calling me.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why, well, Paige, you'll explain it when we get to it.
Plus, Luce's taxi driver is having phone sex while driving her wherever he's going to be driving her, which is a wild experience.
I'd be like 1 star. Dude was definitely rock hard while driving.
5-star, great adjectives. Anyway, there is road construction, so everyone is stopped. And while she's on the phone with Luz, and Luz is basically like, you can't do this, we can't do this, I'm going to hang up, she overhears the bicycle guy ride by singing the title of the film. Or the turtle song that the title of the film is based on.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then he proceeds to ride by the other car. And Rachel's like, oh my God, I have heard that before. That means she's somewhere here in this traffic jam.
Yes.
So she gets out, stands on top of the car, calls for Luce, uses the projection of the diaphragm that she taught her about.
I love that it wasn't just that she used the projection technique. It was that she said a number 9, you're a wanker. Like she said exactly what they said in the moment. Like it was a perfect callback. I loved it. And then Luce was like, am I number 9? Am I the wanker? So she gets out of the taxi.
Are we the mutants at table 9? But she then yells back, I can do this.
Yes.
So they run to each other and kiss. And apparently there's a post-credit
then
scene.
there's an after-credit scene. Yeah. So then they go to a park and it's really cold and they're like, it's really cold. But then they like snuggle up and that's their ending. And then Cooper kidnaps he has a baby at his apartment.
Weird.
And then Heck is on a plane. I guess he's going on their honeymoon or what? He's going.
No, I think he's just going for his travel stuff to write his travel book. Okay. He's just finally traveling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a seat between him and an attractive woman. And she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm writing a book. And she's like, good, because I can read. And then they both kind of giggle.
Good, because I can read.
And she's like, I don't know why I said that. That's really weird. And it implies the love is first sight thing. And then he laughs hysterically. And he's like, how long is this flight? And she's like, 24 hours. And then the movie ends.
Where is he flying to?
I don't know. And that's
the movie. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what'd you guys think about Imagine Me and You?
It's tough because I always want to support LGBTQIA love stories in films no matter what, because there aren't enough of them. And thankfully we're getting more and more. That's great.
Yeah.
Did not love this one, especially compared to Bros last week.
Yeah, Bros is way better.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know what? I mean, as they get more representation, they will also dip into really awful romantic comedy cliches.
Yeah. With volume comes sometimes varying quality, like because there's so many of them. And it's good that we can get to that point. But yes, no, I think you can kind of tell that this was originally written as a straight rom-com and then just kind of like taped together. But yeah, I am glad that we watched it though, because it is
often requested. Yeah, Paige, you're right about that. I have seen a lot of people asking for this one. I honestly like the movie. I just hate the one subplot about them being married while the events of the movie are taking place. Like, that's hard for me, probably because I've been cheated on twice.
Movie,
I know. Literally, they're technically still married when the end credits roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, if they didn't have that, I would have loved this movie. But because of it sort of makes me never want to watch it again. Because it's just like, why even do that? I don't know. It just seems weird. I don't like it.
That makes sense.
But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I have a few.
Well, hit us with your fun facts. Your few fun facts.
So I already kind of burned a couple of these, that it was originally conceived and written as a heterosexual love story. And then, of course, the title is a reference to Happy Together by the Turtles.
Yeah.
Now, the original title to this movie was Click, the idea that you just click with someone.
Okay.
However, this came out right around the same time as Adam Sandler's film Click. And so, of course, Adam Sandler's not going to change. So they changed the movie, the title of this movie.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So now in one scene when they're at the soccer game, Piper Perabo is wearing a hat, and it's actually a crew member's, because she was cold and tried on a bunch of different people's hats until she found one that she liked, destroying the hair department probably did for her. But
I know. I'm sure the hair department was like, no, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. And those are your fun facts. There's not a ton of fun facts.
Okay.
I do think it's really interesting that on the cover of this movie, it portrays it almost like Cooper and Luce are hooking up also.
It does. The poster, yeah.
Yes, and that's really not the case, so I thought that was kind of interesting too.
Well, Paige, thank you for those fun facts. Let's talk a little bit about box office. What do you think the production budget was for Imagine Me and You in 2006?
In 2006, and this actually It's in production in 2005.
It is. Yeah, it premieres like January 2006. So it was definitely in production probably 2004-ish, and then shot in 5 and edited in 5. Yeah.
I only say that because a lot of stuff says 5, and I was like, no.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it does. And I'm sure it had like premieres in 2005.
In 5, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this looks like about $5 million to me.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think?
I'm going to go 9.
Mikey, you're closer. It's actually $7.9 million.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Which, if you adjust for inflation, is $12.3 million today. Now, as I talked about earlier just a moment ago, it did premiere on January 27th of 2006. It was 51st in the theaters that weekend.
Well, January is where they dump movies that they want to bury.
Yeah, it was beat by Big Mama's House 2 was number 1 that weekend.
Oh, that was a huge hit.
It was. Nanny McPhee was number 2. Underworld Evolution was 3, Annapolis was 4, and Hoodwinked was 5 that week. And then there were 46 other movies, and then this one, Imagine Me and You.
I saw Hoodwinked that week.
You saw Hoodwinked?
Yeah, I like distinctly remember seeing Hoodwinked that week.
Well, you could have been seeing Imagine Me and You. So it was only in 8 theaters, though. So what do you think it brought in those 8 theaters that brought it up to 51st place in the box office that weekend?
$167,000.
Okay. Mikey, what do you think?
$50,000.
Mikey, you're very close. It's 51.9. So it's $51,907 in its opening weekend.
This becomes a cult classic, though.
Oh, yeah, I think it does, but it did not do well in theaters. It was in theaters for a total of 8 weeks, but the most number of theaters it was in was 106. Nationwide releases at the time were very close to 3,000. I don't think they were quite 3,000 yet, but it was very close to 3,000 was like a traditional nationwide release around this time. So to only be in 106 at its max, the studio doesn't have a lot of faith in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think it made domestically in the box office? And now this is a predominantly UK movie, but when I say domestically, I'm referring to the US. So what do you think it made in the US?
80,000. No. Hold on. It gets up to 100 theaters.
Yeah, 106 is its max.
106. I'm going to say $800,000.
Okay.
I'm going to say 600.
Mikey, you're a little bit closer. It's $672,000 is what it made in the US. Now, internationally, it brought in almost 2.5, a total of $2.45 million. So worldwide, the total was only $3.1 million against a $7.9 million budget. It did not do very well in theaters. But Paige, as you said, it has become sort of a cult classic since this. But it definitely lost money when it was in the theaters.
Yeah.
But that is your box office. Mikey, you want to hit him with that romance scale?
Yeah, romance scale of 1 to 10. How romantic we found the film today. Paige.
1. But mainly just because we didn't get to see them together enough. Like, I wanted to see them fall in love, and I don't think we really see that in the movie.
I'm going to give it a 1 as well, but largely for the same reasons, Paige. And even if we did see them fall in love, there is the guilt of like, well, she's married. She's in a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, she's cheating. Like, so that, I think, takes me out of the romantic lane as well.
I'll give it a 3. I think that's some cute moments.
All right.
And that's our romance scale.
Yeah. So this week, Paige, you made us watch Imagine Me and You. Mikey, what are you going to make us watch next week?
I'm going to pick Dating Amber because I saw the trailer and it looked funny, and it's where these 2 kids in school, one is a lesbian, one is a gay guy, they end up pretend dating to get everybody off their backs because they were being bullied.
Oh.
And some other stuff happens. It could be more coming of age, but I think it'll be fun.
I am excited. That's great. And it's newer on Amazon, correct?
Yes, 2020 is when it came out.
Perfect.
Oh, awesome. So guys, check out Dating Amber on Amazon Prime for next week.
Hooray.
So Mikey, do you have a review for us to read?
Oh, definitely not.
Well, while you're looking one up, let me tell them how they can have their review right on the podcast, and that is to leave us a 5-star text review, and I'll make Mikey read it for you. So Mikey, whose review were you going to read this week?
This guy left a review just for me. TJ Bonds.
Well, what does TJ Bonds have to say?
Great show.
Nailed it.
I love this podcast and Horror Virgin.
Nice.
My only complaint My only complaint is Mike and Todd's face doesn't match what I pictured based off the voices on the podcast.
That's sort of a nice way of saying we're uglier than he thought we'd be.
Whenever people say that, I'm always really curious as to what they pictured, and I never get a chance to ask, except for the first time Blaine saw what I looked like on camera, and he was like, or in person, I guess. He was like, I pictured you like way taller. And I was like, really? Interesting. All right.
Do us a favor. Draw what you think our voices look like and send us that, because I want to know how handsome you wish I was.
But that's the end of the review. 5 stars.
Oh.
Hooray.
Well, thank you so much for that awesome 5-star review. And if you want to have Mikey read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review. So, guys, if you like this power throuple that we have here on this podcast, make sure to check out our other podcast, The Horror Virgin. And that is the only other podcast that Mikey and I are on. But Paige gets around, and she is on 2 other podcasts, Black Card Rehab and Cult Podcast. So guys, definitely check out those because they're amazing. If you want to follow us on social, we are at Romancing the Pod Show.
Yes.
On Instagram, and we are at something else on Twitter, who I just have never taken the time to learn
It's just Romancing Pod Show because they have a character limit and it's show SHO like Showtime.
So guys, check that out as well. And if you want to follow us all individually, Paige is at Rampage Wesley everywhere, including TikTok, except for Twitter, where she is at Paige Wesley. Mikey is at mrandolph24, and I am at Todd J Awesome everywhere. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion.
I'm going to send you guys a John Bouquet.
A John Bouquet Ramsey.
John Bouquet Ramsey.
Bye. I don't really like movies that involve cheating on your person, nerds.